What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Casey, and that's not the Jeep. No, the Jeep's outside. I needed to reshoot an intro and spent all day today doing a Evap relocation kit installation. Went to put the video onto my computer, started editing, no sound on 3/4 of the video. So the Jeep is outside, it's already done. I had to bring the Corvette back in. But on this week's video, I'm going to show you how to basically reinstall or install a new Evap if you broke yours or damaged part of it. And I'm going to be reinstalling it using a relocation kit, which puts it behind the gas tank and above the rear axle, out of the way, much more protected. And it's just, to me, it seems like it's going to, well, I'm probably not going to break my Evap again, or hopefully I don't. I did have a skid plate on it. It protects most of the Evap, but it doesn't protect the hoses and the sensor in the back, and that's what happened. It got knocked off. Probably a branch or a rock or something got shoved up in there and knocked it off. So I picked this up. I bought a new Evap and sensor from Rock Auto. Great place to get parts. Not sponsored, but great place to get parts, cheap and quick. Northridge sent me over a relocation kit. So this isn't going to be quite the normal type of video. Basically, I'm just going to talk over most of the video that I shot today. Towards the end, the sound did pick up, but as you can see, I am shooting an intro here. It's 10 o'clock at night. I'm leaving for Jeepapalooza in the morning, and I want to get this video done and uploaded to YouTube so that you guys have a weekly video. I'm not even wearing my normal hat. My Jeeping hat, my off-road evolution hat that I always wear. I can't even put that back on because I washed it and it's drying. So Corvette hat for this intro only. Apologies for the audio and a slightly different format of this video, but let's get started with this install. Alright, here's a quick look at what's going on currently with my Evap canister. I've got the Evo, or Off-Road Evolution skid plate mounted on it. You can see just how tight that is to the drive shaft, and I've actually ripped the boot on my drive shaft, and that is something that I've been looking at replacing. On the other side, I have a hanger for my exhaust, my tailpipe and my muffler there. When I bought the kit for my previous muffler, the AFE, as well as this MagnaFlow, they come with a bracket that bolts to the frame using the 2 bolts that mount onto the Evap canister. When you put a skid plate on it, there's no way for that bracket to hang down and hold your muffler. So I've kind of been thinking about what to do with this, and I was going to get it welded on, but now that I'm relocating my Evap to the back of the Jeep, I'm going to pull this skid plate off, and I'm going to be able to just put that bracket on and mount my muffler properly in place. So I'm just going to quickly unbolt the skid plate, which also unbolts the Evap canister. There's just 2 bolts in the front and 1 in the back. I believe they're 17mm. Now, something that I didn't do is I recommend disconnecting the hoses as well as the sensor before you unbolt this, as it just makes it a whole lot easier because the hoses and sensor wire are not long enough to hang all the way to the ground. So you want to do that before you unbolt your Evap canister. Yeah, so here I am basically learning this. I didn't disconnect anything, and you can see how it's hanging down. I do have that wire holding up the front of the skid plate, which was actually the wire to hold up part of my muffler while I decided what to do with that bracket. And I ultimately did just put a couple bolts back in to hold this in place while I try to disconnect those hoses and kind of wrangle them off. The one hose there has a bit of a trick to getting it off. This is the hose that's coming off of the gas tank. And basically you pinch the 2 sides of it to push the little prongs in, and it will release it and allow it to come over the little bevel on the connector on the Evap. The trick though to this is you have to push the hose in towards the Evap first and then squeeze the sides of it so that those prongs are then able to be fully opened up, and then you can pop this right off. Here you can see that I ultimately decided to remove the skid plate entirely. There's a couple bolt points on the Evo skid plate that allow you to detach it from the top plate, as I needed to kind of get this extra angle in with my hand to be able to depress the 2 side tabs on this connector properly.
And see, once you're doing it right, nothing to it, off it comes. And I'm just gonna quickly mount up the bracket that I was telling you guys about earlier. This is the muffler hanger bracket, and I'm just gonna reuse the 2 bolts that I had holding up the evap canister and skid plate. And now I can have my muffler properly secured to the frame. So here's a quick look at the Nemesis Industries bracket or relocation mount for your evap canister. It's made out of aluminum. This one I have is just in bare metal. You can get it powder coated from them in black for a little bit more money, but basically your evap canister just slides into these tabs, and then there's going to be a little plate that goes behind it to hold it in place. This is just how it mounts on the factory bracket as well. The tabs just hook in and then you kind of slide it into place. They also give you some hose in the kit because you're going to need this to extend some of the ventilation lines, and then all the hardware and some hose clamps and the other 2 brackets that you need to kind of complete this installation. So I'm just starting to get the mount roughed into place. I wanted to just see how it would fit. You do have to remove the little bracket that holds your e-brake cables only during the installation. Right there, you see those are going to go over top of the bolts that protrude, and then you can put it back when you're done. So something I did want to mention was I am fumbling around with this installation quite a bit. There were no installation instructions in the kit, and the link that I went to go get the installations off their website was broken, and even searching around the website I couldn't find them. So it was a bit more challenging than normal, and I did call them and they said they would email them to me, but I didn't get them over the course of the morning, so I just went ahead with the installation. So these 2 bolts here are extremely challenging to get the nut on. You're supposed to drill out the second bolt, but after trying to wrangle this for quite some time and get that nut on the top of this bolt, and I figure that this 1 bolt is going to be more than adequate for the weight of this bracket. So here, once again, I've pulled the bracket out after kind of getting a rough idea where it sits and how it sizes up under the Jeep, and I've popped the evap canister into it. You just slide it into the tabs on the back and then put that bracket, that L bracket in, and it kind of just locks it in place so that it can't ever rattle out. Now you see the sensor that I put on upside down, so make sure you put this on the other way so the connector is facing the bottom of your evap canister. So here's just another quick shot. You can see what I'm talking about. I flipped around the sensor. You can see that the connector is on the bottom of it now, not interfering with anything. Just going to bolt up this L bracket, and that's going to lock that in place. And then I need to put the other bracket on once the sensor is in place, so that we can then bolt that to where the hangers are for the e-brake cables.
Okay, the last part of this is we've got to get these hoses, the breather hose and the hose that goes to the gas tank, up on here. Now these are kind of a rigid hose, and so the kit does include, where is it, a bunch of extra hose that can be clamped on and go over top of this. So what I think I'm going to do is just figure out the best way to, or the best place to cut these. I think I might, see that one will go that way, so I think I'll cut it right here at the elbow and then clamp a piece of hose on, run it over here, clamp a piece of hose on, and then this one, sorry, because this goes to here, and then this one has to go over to this far side, and I think I'll cut it right here, and then we'll run a piece of hose. It'll loop back around and over to this, so we don't get any kinks in the line. Okay, now I'm just gonna get the gasket on this still and pop this back into place, and we're done. Anyways, guys, as you can see, I'm probably looking a little bit dirty. My hat is filthy. Pretty much what happens anytime I get underneath the Jeep, because it is really dirty under there. We just finished up the install of this Evap relocation kit. Would have been a whole lot easier if I had some instructions. I never did hear back from Nemesis Industries on getting the installations instructions, so they'll probably show up sometime later on and I don't need them anymore. I did find a post on Way of Life that helped with this installation, although it was for an older model of this, but it kind of gave me a gist of what was going on with how this mounted up, and I figured it out. It probably took me about 3 hours of messing around. Part of it was just doing things up and then realizing, oh, that has to be repositioned, that wire has to be somewhere else, that cable has to be somewhere else, and then pulling it back out again. Probably could get it done in maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours, knowing now exactly what I need to do. So anyways, that was basically the installation. I think that relocating your evap is probably a high priority modification to be doing. Skid plates work most of the time, but the rear is still exposed where those hoses come out and the sensor is there. So I think just relocating is a better investment. It costs about the same for a relocation kit versus a skid plate, and you free up a whole bunch of room along your frame rail. You know, if you have a muffler there as well, it gives your drive shaft a little bit more room. So I would definitely recommend going with the relocation over a skid plate. With that said, I am off to Jeepapalooza tomorrow morning. We are going to be there all weekend. It's a long weekend here. I'm not sure if it is down in the States, but in Canada it is a long weekend. I'm going to be at Jeepapalooza for the next 4 days. I will be shooting some vlogs, so make sure you are subscribed to the channel. You don't miss any of those. I know you guys really like the off-road vlogs. I'll probably be able to make 2, so hoping I get enough footage. I'll be going on several runs, and it'll be a whole lot of fun. I really do enjoy this event. So smash that subscribe button. Make sure you don't miss any of the uploads coming as well. Jeep Jamboree is coming as well. So there's going to be a lot of wheeling going on, and I don't want you guys to miss any of those videos. With that said, make sure you leave a like if you enjoyed this video. I really do appreciate it. Any questions or comments you want to know about this installation, or pretty much anything about my Jeep or off-roading, leave them down below. I will try to answer all of them and respond to your comments. I do check them pretty much every morning. All right, guys, I will see you guys in the next video very soon.